Building a better marketing system, owned and custom audiences. This is Bruce May. I'm the founder of Bizperity and your instructor for this series. This course, Digital Media Strategies, includes 4 micro courses, 4 main digital marketing processes, owned audiences, tactical considerations, and 15 basic campaigns. This micro course, Owned and Custom Audiences, includes the 5 micro lessons shown on the right: audience strategies, niche audiences, Facebook audiences, content creation, and digital media strategy basics. This video covers our micro lesson, Facebook audiences. Be sure and download our ebook, Owned and Custom Audiences, in our content library on bizperity.com. In this video, we'll explore the differences between saved and custom audiences and look at both lookalike audiences and Meta's AI for audience expansion called Advantage Plus Audience. This can be very confusing to people who are just starting to use Facebook, but if you find it a bit overwhelming, just absorb as much as you can, then come back in a few days and watch this video again. We've already covered a lot of the basic information about saved and custom audiences in the previous 2 lessons. This groundwork was necessary to get us to the point where we can start to make sense about how this all works and how you can build audience strategies to grow your niche audiences and in turn grow your business. If you can master how audiences work in Facebook, you can master Facebook advertising, and it's worth the effort. In this video, I'll focus primarily on Facebook, but LinkedIn is very similar. The only real difference is that a custom audience in Facebook is called a matched audience in LinkedIn. You can't download custom audiences even though Meta tracks them through their engagements with your business. Meta does this for 2 reasons. It would violate their privacy terms with their users who don't want their information given away or sold without their permission. And equally important to Meta, user data is the lifeblood of their business model. They sell access to this data. If they gave advertisers access to whole segments of their audience all at once, they would lose the ability to sell ads to those audiences. They do sell single ads one at a time using their lead gen tool, but this applies only to individual leads and not to whole Facebook audiences. Here's the bottom line. Because you have engagements with saved audiences, retargeting is not possible. But because you do have engagement with users from custom audiences, retargeting is supported. Whenever a user who has not engaged with you before clicks on an ad or a post, they'll be added to any custom audience you've created in the past. Custom audiences are automatically updated subject to users interacting within the retention period, which you set when you create a custom audience, anywhere between 1 and 365 days. And they have to meet other criteria, which you select. And this includes a whole wide range of engagements. In Facebook, you can create multiple saved audiences based on geography, demographics, and interests, which you can search for in Facebook. Meta tracks thousands of interests, which you can find with other tools like LeadSync or Audience Kitchen. You can create custom audiences by uploading contacts from your CRM or by selecting the engagement criteria you want to track, including website visitors using the Meta Pixel, or by engagement with people who are interested or interacting with your ads, your videos, your Facebook business page, your posts, or your Instagram content. If you direct users in an ad campaign to your website or landing page, you can place them in your database where they become part of your owned audience, and you are free to remarket to them directly through email campaigns. When you own an audience, you capture and maintain a profile of each audience member in your CRM database with their contact information and other information you've collected in the forms they submit about their needs, interests, along with the conversions in the customer journey, if your conversions are captured in a landing page. And once they are in your database of prospects and customers, you can engage them multiple times with weekly emails or with a newsletter. Email campaigns are one of the most powerful marketing techniques there is when done correctly, and it's free, no pay-per-click fees. So if you think about it, you can see that you really have three types of audiences. Your owned audience in your CRM, saved audiences in social media, and custom audiences also in social media. You may have noticed something odd about these names. Why is a saved audience called a saved audience? After all, you can save a custom audience. This all comes about historically because originally Facebook could only create audiences using filters like interests. Then in 2013, they added the ability for advertisers to upload their own contacts. And they didn't want to rename saved audiences because they didn't want to confuse people. Well, they did anyway. Or I wouldn't have to be explaining this, would I? Recall the difference between saved and custom audiences. Saved audiences are selected using filters like age, gender, and similar things like that. Facebook doesn't tag or track these audiences for privacy reasons. They're recreated every time you run a campaign. Custom audiences are created from a data source that shows they have interacted with your business, either in Facebook or on your web pages if you set up the metapixel. So Facebook does track them internally. These audiences can feed off each other in an endless series of processes from one campaign to the next. Just remember, custom audiences dynamically update as long as users fit the criteria that you choose. Here's the smart way to use these audiences together to optimize for maximum growth. Use saved audiences to build your initial custom audiences when you don't yet have any engagement data or owned contacts in your CRM to create a custom audience. As we just explained, when a user from a saved audience clicks on an ad or your post or any of the other many forms of engagement, they can automatically be included in a custom audience, depending on the engagement criteria that you've chosen for that customer audience. Use your campaigns to drive traffic to a landing page where you can download individual contacts into your CRM, or use their lead gen forms to capture leads from Facebook directly into your CRM. And upload your contacts and name them as a custom audience in Facebook. You'll have to do this each time you want to use your own audience and your own contacts from your CRM, because you can't add contacts to an existing custom audience. Adding contacts to an existing custom audience would lead to mismatching your contacts with Facebook users. Facebook uses a hashing and matching process to ensure your contacts match their users. They carefully log and audit your contacts with a timestamp so they can remain compliant with privacy laws, which keeps you safe. It also helps you think more strategically about how you're using these processes to optimize for audience growth. As a side note, hashing is a crypto technique used for decades that turns personal data, like your name and email, into a string of numbers. The process is irreversible, so it's impossible to regenerate your name and email address from the numbers it generates, but it produces the exact same string of numbers every time. So Meta can use the hash string from your contacts and the hash string from their users to match them up. Why do this? Because it ensures that if they don't match, they're not connected in any way. But more importantly, for data security, your contacts are never entered into the Meta database as readable information. They're hashed before they're even compared to Facebook users. I know this is more information than you care to know about data security, but I wanted to answer the question that was probably on your mind. So now you know what hashing is. At this point, it's helpful if you understand the history of how audience types were created by Facebook and Meta over the years. It makes it easier to explain the differences and the purpose of each of these different types of audiences and how they work. When Facebook first launched in 2004, they were only saved audiences, but using Facebook filters, or built using Facebook filters, including age, interest, location. There were no data sources other than for what users provided for themselves, which is what you could use to filter to target niche audiences. Then in 2013, custom audiences were introduced. Advertisers could upload contact lists with basic profile data, which Facebook could use to match to their users. That same year, Facebook introduced lookalike audiences. Facebook used custom audiences as seeds to find similar users. You can assign the similarity of a lookalike audience to a custom audience to within 1 to 10% of a match. 1% means almost an exact match to demographics and interests. 10% is a close match, but not exact. You can adjust this so that if you want to create a larger audience, you can reduce the similarity. Lookalike audiences were and still are a great way to grow your custom audiences. Then in 2016, engagement-based custom audiences were introduced. These tracked users who interacted with your Facebook business page, videos, lead forms, or website. Because the privacy rules were the same with both engagement-based audiences and custom-based audiences, it made sense to just put these together. In other words, engagement-based tracking simply became a feature of custom audiences. That's why there are two ways to create a custom audience, by uploading it from your CRM or through engagement tracking. Most recently, in 2003 and 2004, Meta added Advantage Plus Audience, which provides AI-driven expansion beyond defined audiences. Advantage Plus audiences have minimal advertiser control, but provide maximum performance optimization. You might ask yourself, if Advantage Plus offers maximized performance optimization, why do I even need to use lookalike audiences at all? Good question. I'll answer that next. So let's add lookalike audiences to our group of meta audiences, which you can see here. You can save a saved audience, a custom audience, or a lookalike audience, but you cannot combine a lookalike audience with a custom audience, because lookalike audiences are created from a Facebook users who don't have any engagement with. So Meta protects them from retargeting, from privacy and data separation issues, keeping Meta users' data separate from your prospect and customer data. In other words, the same rules apply to a lookalike audience and a saved audience, and for the same reasons. Now let's add Advantage Plus audiences to our group of meta audiences. We'll explore how Advantage Plus audiences can help you grow your other audiences. Advantage Plus audience creates audiences dynamically in real time based on signals that you control indirectly. But you can't even save these audiences because they're created dynamically by Meta, so they are constantly changing in real time from 1 second to the next, or 1 nanosecond to the next. Facebook also treats them like a saved audience, again, for the data privacy and data separation from your customer audience, but you can't name them or save them. Think of these as virtual audiences created in real time, constantly changing all the time. Because of how this works, you can't even create an audience like you can with a saved audience or a custom audience. There are no criteria like demographics or interests that you can directly select. All you can do is turn on Advantage Plus audience and let it go to work finding new prospects for you. But how does it work? There are 5 ways that Advantage Plus can receive signals either directly or indirectly from you, and we'll cover these right now. The answer is Advantage Plus audiences uses these signals from other sources, and you can influence how Advantage Plus finds new audience members indirectly through these signals. So here's how it works. There are 5 different ways you can provide signal intelligence that Advantage Plus audience can use to better target users that might want to do business with you. So the first one is custom audience seed signals. These include engagement history, website activity, and purchase behavior. Engagement data is also used to create custom audiences. Advantage Plus audience looks at the engagement data that you selected for your custom audiences. The next one is creative signals, and these include ad copy, including messages, offers, and visuals, call to action, which may be in your ad copy, but even more powerfully, it's included in an ad feature when you set up your ads in Meta in certain types of Facebook campaigns. Ad format, because different people respond differently to different formats. Some like text, some like video, and so on. It also includes delivery optimization and ad placement, lots of places. Advantage Plus audience looks at your ads to get clues about who might be interested in your ads. I know that sounds redundant, but it's really just that simple. Conversion signals is the third way, powerful for all the reasons we've been talking about in the customer journey throughout this series. Advantage Plus audience looks at conversions listed in the ad setup process when you create a campaign in the ad manager. This includes pixel events on your website. Meta prioritizes users likely to complete that goal. Then you have geography and language. Geography signals are pretty obvious, but very helpful because Advantage Plus audience will stay within these hard boundaries. Generally, it doesn't stay within the boundaries of the signals. It's designed to go far beyond those boundaries, which is why it's so powerful. Location is included in this by city, state, region, or country, or radius targeting. The fifth way is actually budget and optimization goal. And we haven't talked about how you can set a budget and optimization goal when you set up your Facebook campaigns. Honestly, it gets a bit complicated just because there are so many options. But the key options that I would focus on, especially because of our focus on the customer journey, include landing page views, which helps maximize lead capture and lead nurturing with content, link clicks, which helps maximize conversions, impressions, which minimize the number of times your ad is shown for maximum reach, engagement, which optimizes for likes, comments, shares, and other interactions. This is good for building your business page audience. Video views targets users likely to watch your videos. Lead generation, which maximizes for lead gen forms. And signals also include daily lifetime budget, bid cap, and cost per result goals. And if you don't know what those are, don't worry about that right now. Just think of Advantage Plus Audience as an audience test lab. You're not building the audience, you're using AI to do that for you. The more high quality signals you provide, especially conversion data and creative cues, give Meta the ability to better find the right people for your business. Now let's look at some audience building strategies using all of these different kinds of audiences work in collaboration with each other. This is where you can really find out how to really make this work for your business. So you can create a saved audience based on any combination of demographics or interests. When any Facebook user clicks on an ad, your business page or your posts or your website, if you have the Metapixel installed, they'll join any custom audience that has pre-selected criteria that the user fits. This audience building strategy can be used all the time at any stage in the customer journey, but it's especially important when you first start your business because building audience is a key marketing goal. You can use lookalike audiences to expand custom audiences based on a degree of similarity. This measure is narrow, between 1 and 10% similarity to your custom audience. That makes lookalike audiences good for growing audiences for marketing or sales conversions. Advantage Plus audience are virtual audiences that Meta reaches using these signals from other types of audiences. So you can suggest that Advantage Plus audiences use signals from each of these other audiences during campaign setup. You can add lookalike audiences by name, add save audiences indirectly by adding signals based on the same demographics or interests used to create the saved audience. And you can add custom audience signals based on your uploaded contacts or the same engagement metrics used to create the custom audience, including ad interactions, engagements with your business page and posts, video views, page followers, event responses, website behavior, if you have the Metapixel installed, so you can see page views and page clicks, and app activity if you have an app, which is mainly for e-commerce. One of the cool things about these techniques, and they're very powerful, is that you can mix them together to achieve different audience strategies. You can combine one, two, or all three types of audiences in a campaign using Advantage Plus Audience to extend your core audience. And remember that any user that responds will be added to multiple custom audiences if they match the criteria you use to create that audience. For example, let's say you want to feature a product line for a month-long sale. You can combine all your saved, custom, and lookalike audiences together in a single campaign, then use all these signals collectively to drive traffic to the product sale. Or if you want to create a campaign that focuses on a single key conversion in the customer journey, do the same thing with an offer or content designed for that key conversion. Here are the rules for creating signals using different types of audiences when creating a new campaign. You can set this up in the audience section when creating a campaign. Begin by turning on Advantage Plus Audience. For custom audiences, you don't add a custom audience by name. You upload contacts from your CRM, or you select engagement behavior in the campaign setup process. For a lookalike audience, you do enter the name of the lookalike audience or just browse for it in a list. Remember, a lookalike audience is based on similarity to a custom audience. This selection is broader because Advantage Plus Audience is using it as signal or a guide, not a hard rule like it is when you first create a lookalike audience. So just remember, lookalike audiences expand your audiences very narrowly, whereas Advantage Plus audiences expands very broadly. That's why it can go so fast. For saved audiences, you don't add a custom audience by name. You manually input the same criteria you use to create the saved audience. There's almost no end to the combinations you can create to use Advantage Plus Audience to expand your custom audiences. You can even combine multiple audience segments in all of these formats to maximize the potential audience growth. The compute power of Advantage Plus Audience is enormous. Meta will explore millions of data points, potentially even billions of data points, in a very active campaign. Remember, Meta now recommends you begin with a target audience of 2 million users, not 200,000, and it's free to use. Meta can afford to absorb this cost for you because the more active your campaigns, the more money you both make. This can happen fast if you have the budget to invest in big media buys. Just remember that before you make large ad buys, you first need to test your ads and all your ad elements, including your messaging, your offers, and your creative images and video. Establishing responses and engagements are more important in these early stages than proving positive return on ad spend, because your goal is to build your audience as large as possible. Once you have a large audience, you can go to work moving them through the conversion stages in the customer journey. You can only prove positive return on ad spend when prospects convert to customers. Now, retail operators work under a different principle where transactions are often frequent and ad campaigns are designed to drive sales. But for any business with a professional sales process, the output of your campaigns will be qualified leads. So in the early stages, you sacrifice return on ad spend for building audience. Again, it's going to be worth it. Here are the stages in using Advantage Plus Audience to expand all your audiences by generating more engagement, responses, and even conversions. During the learning phase, the early part of the learning phase, Meta tests audience combinations and creative performance. Be sure to provide it with as much audience data and ads that have been testing well. This can take as little as 1 to 3 days. During the signal expansion phase, Meta starts finding similar users beyond the initial inputs you provided. This too can happen quickly in as little as 3 to 7 days, which is the typical learning period for Meta. And in the scaling period, this is where audience size and conversions grow rapidly. This can happen as soon as a few weeks. This does require sufficient audience size and effective signals. For custom audiences, Meta requires a minimum of 100 matched users. So you may have to build your custom audiences first using saved audiences as the source for new leads. You'll want to capture these from a landing page or through lead gen forms. So use content to capture users' attention to achieve these early milestones. According to Meta, The ideal reach for Advantage Plus audiences is 1,000 matched users. Small businesses may struggle to capture this many leads, but if you combine good content, even if you curate it rather than create it yourself, and combine this with special offers, even a small business should be able to acquire 1,000 matched users over a few months. If you want to accelerate this process, just invest in larger media buys. It's hard to throw money into campaigns that are not yet generating return on ad spend. I get that. But this is an investment that can pay off for big in the long term, or even sooner. Consider it part of the cost of doing business. If free advertising channels are working for you, then you can stick with them. But when the economy hits a downturn, you may be wishing you'd invested in audience building when you had the money to invest in the effort. We recommend that when you first start your business, you invest time and money in building a core audience in Facebook and LinkedIn, using content and posts to drive early conversions through online ad campaigns. And one piece of advice I always like to give is this: put your marketing budget in your business plan. Most small business owners never do that. And if you don't have a business plan, make one. It doesn't have to be complicated. Neither does your marketing budget. Just make one. Now that we've learned about all 4 types of meta audiences, let's review the multiple ways you can use these audiences to maximize your reach with larger audiences in meta and your own audience. This is where it starts to get fun. So you've saved audiences to build your custom audiences, capture leads in the real world through business networks in your owned audience in your CRM, beyond engagements in your saved audiences, which place users in your custom audiences, design campaigns to drive users in your saved audiences to landing pages where you can capture them in your own audience. You can also use lead gen forms to do this, but test them first to see if the cost per lead is worth it. Upload your owned audiences in your CRM, your contacts, and into Meta and name them as a custom audience. You'll have to do that anytime you need to update your custom audiences with new leads captured outside of the Meta platform in the real world. Recall that Meta will hash and match your contact with their users and log and timestamp them for compliance and privacy regulation. You can use signals from lookalike audiences and custom audiences to run campaigns using Advantage Plus audience that move prospects through the entire customer journey. In the ad set level, under Audience, select Advantage Plus Audience, and then in the Audience Signal section, click Add Audience, select both your custom audience and your lookalike audience. When these users engage with your business during a campaign, they can join existing custom audiences, if they fit the criteria you used when creating your custom audiences. Then you can retarget them in a follow-up campaign, which could also be running continuously. When you capture these prospects into your own audience, you can then track them using your own tags to capture key conversions in the customer journey. This retargeting method does not require that you tag prospects in your CRM, but if you do, you can create follow-up campaigns that target prospects at specific stages in the customer journey. Examine the conversion data for individual prospects to gain insights into how well all your campaigns are working together to achieve your marketing goals. Your owned audience does not have to come into play with all your leads or even in all your campaigns. But the ability to tag and upload your contacts to Facebook or other online ad platforms is a powerful tool that can produce more conversions and increase your return on ad spend. Use your CRM to run email campaigns as well. This is one of the most powerful digital media tools you have. Because you own this audience, you can communicate with them whenever you want. Marketing automation allows you to automate these communications. Organizing your contacts in your CRM by customer segments allows you to grow them into much larger audiences. When you can save and continue to retarget your audiences, which is what allows you to save and retarget your audiences. And you do this not with a single campaign, but over time with multiple campaigns, collecting more information as you manage the customer journey. The details of designing and launching campaigns varies depending on your industry and your business model. The 6 business groups we identified all have different needs and opportunities to use content to build and convert audiences into customers. Think about what kind of content you can create to inform prospects about your products or services. What kind of content can you create to educate them about their needs and the value of your solutions? What kind of content can you create to motivate them to engage with you in the sales process? Audiences have always been the most valuable resource in marketing. Niche audiences have revolutionized marketing. The key to nurturing your prospects and customers lies in how you use content to help build stronger relationships, educate prospects and customers about their needs and your products so that you can move them through the customer journey. Today, a business can reach individuals one at a time with ads directly on the internet, and you can reach thousands of individuals this way in a very short time. That completes this micro lesson, Facebook Audiences. Be sure and download our ebook, Owned and Custom Audiences, in our content library on bizperity.com. Next time, we'll cover content creation. See you next time on Building a Better Marketing System. Thank you for joining us.